2.
Today on Up for Debate, we have a very special episode. It's the first week of March Madness. Will Sean be able to guess what we're talking about tonight? Spoiler alert, he has no idea. It's week 1 of a month-long special that Sean is soon to be regretting. It's March Madness, week 1, and it's coming up now. This is Up for Debate, a podcast where the two hosts agree on pretty much everything. I'm Matt. I'm joined by my co-host, Sean.
Hello,
and
Matt.
We are here. Hello, Sean. We are here to talk about a very special topic tonight that I will be introducing momentarily. But until then, how are we doing today, Sean?
You know, Matt, it's very strange because I've talked about previously on the show. I personally have done over 500 hours of podcasting myself. And the interesting thing about that, and I've done it with you and with other folks, but the thing about it is I'm always in charge. Simply by the fact that I run the equipment, I edit and post the show, I many times come up with the concepts. I'm always in the driver's seat.
It's just easier that way.
I
like being along for the ride.
And it's worked out well to this point. But for some bizarre reason, I decided to volunteer the idea that you should have your own month. Because, Matt, I will be honest, some of the show's best episodes were your idea. And some of the worst ones were my idea. So I said, I think Matt deserves a whole month. I can't veto it. I don't even know what we're talking about. It could be a disaster. It could be amazing. And I have to, full transparency here. This is not a game. This is not a joke. Matt did not tell me what we were talking about tonight. I will be 100% surprised when he reveals it. So, Matt, you are in the driver's seat. You have a whole month just dedicated to Matt. So, own it. Go for it.
I'm pretty stoked about it. Like Sean said, I do pitch the idea for quite a few of our episodes. However, Sean has all the equipment. He's got I wouldn't know. You know what? If it were up to me, this podcast would not be heard by anyone. And that's honestly, let's face it, it's probably for the best. But
you're not wrong.
Some of the episodes we've come up with in the past have been good episodes, and I feel like our best work so far, Sean, has been the ones where we basically riff off of things that we have no business talking about whatsoever.
That's like 80% of podcasts, but sure, yeah,
that's right.
I agree.
Things that we have virtually no background in, virtually no interest in. That's some of my favorite content that we've made are things that we don't have an interest in coming in, but then we somehow develop a following for it. Like when we read about it, we get into it. I guess the first thing that comes to mind for me is the XFL.
Sure.
I mean,
that
James
was something
Bond,
that I think is a good example.
James Bond series, indeed. Yep. We do our book clubs. I've read some books that I don't think I would have ever read. I would have ever even picked up if it wasn't for this show. So some of that stuff, the baking challenge, right?
Yeah.
I tried and
you're not going to spring that on me, are you?
Failed at making very fancy French cookies that I will be trying to recreate at least once or twice in this kitchen. I don't know, but yeah. So those are some of my favorite times. The challenge episodes and things like that. Now, don't worry. Don't fret. This week is not a challenge episode.
I was about to run to my kitchen. I was afraid I'd have to start baking here.
No challenge here.
Okay.
I can't promise anything for later in the month, but there's no challenge today. I figured we would just ease into March Madness, nice and calmly with today's topic. Sean. Yo.
Are you teaching me like another language or something? What is this?
Yo ma. This whole episode is about the great orchestra cellist Yo Ma. For those of you at home, if you're watching the video feed, Sean we went into the full face palm right now.
I'm
Don't
not.
worry,
It's
Sean.
coronavirus. I'm not supposed to even touch my face, Matt.
That's right. Now you're infected.
Oh,
Don't worry.
buddy.
It's not Yo-Yo Ma.
Do you know
But
I
today we're
believed
talking
you?
about yo-yos.
Oh boy.
Talking about yo-yos today on the today's show. It's all about the classic, quintessential childhood toy. Sean, have you ever played with a yo-yo before?
Very briefly, never to any length, never to any skill. I have as a child of the 90s, I had a very short attention span, still do. And a yo-yo was not the kind of thing that could keep my attention for long. Now, Matt, it wouldn't surprise me to learn you were some sort of secret yo-yo expert. Are you using this hour to brag about your skills and abilities?
Well, Sean, that would be a pretty dumb thing to do on a podcast where people can't actually see me. But no, I'm actually pretty bad at doing yo-yo stuff. I wish I was better. It's something that I think I tried as a kid, but never really got into. I thought yo-yos were cool. Like I owned a bunch of yo-yos, but I never really got good at them. Matter of fact, I had one of those like really like cheater yo-yos, the ones with the like automatic spring cylinder in the core that makes it like the auto reel.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those around? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had one of those because I was so bad at regular yo-yo, and I guess I got that's kind of like the Velcro of yo-yos. So, but I had a bunch of normal yo-yos too, and I never really developed an expertise. But then again, that's why I figure if we talk about them on today's show, maybe we can rekindle some of that yo-yo magic.
I mean, that's a bold way to put it, but sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, I'm game.
We're going to talk about those. Sean, there's a couple of things that you need to know about yo-yos before we get into this. Apparently, every so often, every year, annually since 1932, 1932, way back in London, England, there's been a yo-yo competition. It was suspended until 1990, or it was held on and off basically until 1992, when it was made a consistent thing, consistent competition. The most recent location, it's scheduled to be, last year it was in Cleveland, Ohio, but this year coming up, the World Yo-Yo Contest, or YWWC. By the way, all the acronyms that have to do with yo-yo are really cool because they have yo-yo in and so you always get like two Y's. Like for example, you got the WYYC, you've got the International Yo-Yo Federation, which regulates this competition, which is the IYYF. You've got the what was the other really good acronyms on this show? The American Yo-Yo Association, the AYYA, or the AYA, is cool. Anyway, the competition this year is scheduled to be held in Budapest, but they're talking about suspending it because of the coronavirus. Yeah. So, Sean, do you know how long the yo-yo has been around?
I do, because I just read the Wikipedia article like we normally do on this show. But do you want me to tell, or you want to explain?
Sean, this is Matt month, so I'm going to delegate this like you do every week, and I want you to explain.
Well, sure, Matt. You know, the yo-yo dates back quite a long time, before the birth of Christ, in fact. A Greek vase painting from 440 BC shows a boy playing with a yo-yo. Greek records from the period describe toys made out of wood, metal, or painted terracotta. Now, the first actual manufactured yo-yo actually didn't take place until 1928, when Pedro Flores opened the Yo-Yo Manufacturing Company in Santa Barbara, California. Yeah, so there you go. The main difference between the Filipino design popularized by Flores and primitive yo-yos was the way the yo-yo is actually strung. In the older yo-yo designs, the string is tied to the axle just using a traditional knot. With this technique, the yo-yo just goes back and forth, it returns easily, but it's hard to make it sleep, get that spin going. In Flores' more now common design, one continuous piece of string, double the desired length, is twisted around something to produce a loop at one end, which is fitted around the axle. It's also termed looped slip string. And what that does is instead of tying a knot at the core of the yo-yo itself, what you're actually doing is you're actually looping the string all the way around the core and bringing it all the way back up to the top. And so you're creating a smoother motion at the center when you want it to get some more free spin.
Yeah. It really surprised me to find out how old the yo-yo was. Dates all the way back to 440 BC. At least that's the first illustration of what looks like it could be a yo-yo on terracotta discs. Painting of a boy playing with the yo-yo. Here's a fun fact that I pulled right from the Wikipedia. In 1933, yo-yos were banned in Syria because many locals superstitiously blamed them for a severe drought.
Oh.
Well,
I mean, it's possible, right? If all the kids were playing yo-yo and got thirsty, so they drank all the water.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
You know what? I think you might have something there. Now it all makes sense. Of course, the biggest name in yo-yo, Sean. What's the biggest yo-yo name in yo-yo?
Oh my God, it doesn't get big. Everyone, I think, when they were a kid, owned one of these classic Duncan yo-yos.
There you go, Duncan. So Duncan's the biggest name in yo-yo. It was invented by patented by entrepreneur Donald F. Duncan in 1929. He's the one that really kind of popularized the yo-yo. He kind of like
the first to really market it.
Yeah, absolutely the first to market it in the States. It was introduced to the U.S. I think via the Philippines, actually.
Yes, correct.
A Filipino immigrant named Pedro Flores.
Uh-huh.
He was the one that was bought out, of course, by Duncan. And the yo-yo didn't really see its heyday, I think, until the 1960s. Definitely post World War II. It was in the 60s when it really, really came out and made a big name for itself there.
Yeah, a lot of that can be credited to Donald Duncan and the Duncan Toy Company. Really the first to market it. In fact, Duncan's birthday has been immortalized as National Yo-Yo Day, June 6th.
In addition to Duncan, you've also got Yo-Yo Factory, Yo-Mega,
Yo MTV Raps,
Magic Yo-Yo, Top Yo. You got like lots of different yo-yo brands out there.
And the Duncan yo-yo specifically was an original inductee into the National Toy Hall of Fame in its initial inductee class in 1999.
Oh wow! So it was really in a class like its very first. Introductory class there. That's
yeah.
Good.
Well,
That's
I mean,
a good place to
it
be.
was right alongside Barbie, Lego, Crayola crayons, the teddy bear. I mean, it doesn't get more iconic than that. Yes, Crayola crayons.
I'm trying to think where is the etymology? Here we go. The etymology. The yo-yo probably comes from the Yokano term yo-yo, or a cognate word from the Philippines. That doesn't really help much. But anyway, a Webster's dictionary defines a yo-yo as a thick groove double disc with the string attached to the center axle that is made to fall and rise to the hand by unwinding and rewinding on the string. A condition or situation marked by regular fluctuations from one extreme to another, or a stupid or foolish person. That's what a real yo-yo.
Oh, hey now.
That guy. Sean, there are, as you may have noticed, there's tons of different yo-yo tricks. Yo-yo techniques.
Yes.
Walk the dog, around the world. Have you heard of any of these?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, Yo-yo tricks really are based in two main functions, right? Sleeping or looping. And all tricks are sort of built off of those. Sleeping, most common yo-yo throw, just sits and spins at the end of the coil without being pulled back up. Looping, on the other hand, is different in that it keeps the body of two yo-yos, it keeps the yo-yo in constant motion without sleeping.
Yeah. Uh, you also have off string, some freehand going on. You've got a couple of different tricks that you could do with the yo-yo, different techniques. It's something I've always kind of been jealous of, just the ability of some people to handle the yo-yo. It's pretty cool. Right now, the yo-yo top world records, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, a bunch of them are held by Japanese yo-yo wizard Hiroyuki Suzuki.
Okay.
He has a number of Guinness World Records. Matter of fact, I think he's held them. He's held them for a pretty long time too. I think 2010 is when many of these were set, and nobody's been able to beat him. Highest number of simultaneous spinning yo-yos. He's got a lot of if you were to start a world record for yo-yos, what world record would you want to break?
I would want to do the person who's yo-yoed the least, so I wouldn't have to do it.
The least amount of time, or as in like you never would have wanted to have touched a yo-yo before?
I want to be the person who's the least involved in yo-yoing in history, which I think just doing the show has probably broken my chance to get that record.
Yeah, I would say you're probably out of it.
Shame.
I was actually going to send you a yo-yo in the mail.
Oh, and then I could have hurt myself.
But that's what I was afraid of. And then you'd be on the IL for the rest of the season. We wouldn't want that.
Now,
mm-hmm.
Matt, can I sideline us a little bit for a second here? Throw call an audible here.
Okay.
Because Wikipedia, very fun website. And one of my favorite things is how Wikipedia pages connect to each other, including at the bottom of every Wikipedia page, there's a section called categories. Categories yo-yos belong in. And there are two of them, and I want to do a mini challenge with you. I'll let you choose between circus skills or brands that became generic.
Brands that became generic.
Yes, or circus skills. Which of those two do you think you could name more of?
The second one. Hit me with that.
Brands that became generic?
Yes.
Okay, how many do you think you can name? Give me a number.
I want you, but describe the category a little bit.
Pages in this category begin as brands and registered trade names, but have become generic and ubiquitous, often common use. Kleenex, I will give you a free example of. And that Kleenex is a brand name, but it's become genericized because we all call it Kleenex.
Yeah. All right. This could be
Band-Aid
kind of
is
fun.
another one, and I'll stop taking them away. But it's things like that have just become common names.
Okay.
So how many do you think you can name?
And
spoiler alert, yo-yo is one of them.
I would say less than 10, but more than 5.
Okay, so five to four.
That's actually a pretty high number, but
go ahead, Matt.
Okay, let's see. Windex.
It's not on this list, but I'll give you that one because I call window cleaner Windex as well.
Pretty much, I think everybody calls the kind of cleaner on there. Let's see. Well, see, Band-Aid was the one that I was going to go right for.
Yep.
Let's see. I guess you got to start broad for this one, like a broad category.
I will say a lot of household items are on this list.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of personal care items.
Okay. How about
Oh.
no? Give me a hint for one of them.
Well, heroin is on this list, but I don't think there was ever a brand of heroin called heroin. That's really confusing to me. But anyway, let's see. On this list,
Styrofoam.
Styrofoam is one. Yep, that was a
Yes.
brand.
Okay.
Yep.
That just like a styrofoam cooler.
Yep. Yep, that is definitely one.
Not not like not like Pillsbury, right? Like you say like a Pillsbury. Nobody really says reach into the fridge and get out a Pillsbury.
Right. Right.
Nah, that doesn't make sense.
I would say a lot of these are like kind of 50s, 60s product inventions. You know what I mean? Around that time when people start getting clever about products.
Yeah. Television? Could
No,
that be
but
one of them?
nope, that is not one. You're out of time, Matt.
Radiator.
No, all right, now you're just saying words that are coming to your head. No, some examples on this list include breathalyzer, bubble wrap.
That's not a common household item.
No, I'm
Maybe
not saying
not at my
all
house.
of them were. I'm saying some chapstick.
Yep. That would have been a good one.
Escalator.
Okay.
Jacuzzi. Linoleum.
Really?
Ziploc.
Linoleum's one of
Ziplocs
them.
a good example. A Xerox machine, a Xerox. Whiteout. Velcro. Tupperware. Taser. Sharpie. Scotch tape. Q-tips. Post-its. Popsicle. Ping pong.
Oh,
Among others.
I think I just solved my own puzzle here. I was going to put out a puzzle. No, I don't. I guess I didn't really solve it. I was going to put out a question there to the audience at home because I don't really know how I would Google this, other than like, I mean, I already tried to Google different types of yo-yos and I came up short. But so the traditional yo-yo has like two half circles basically put together, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's how they're manufactured. Right? Yeah.
But you there are other types of yo-yos that are, I guess they're more like inverted, if that makes sense. Like you look at the circles and it looks like they're like concave, I guess.
This trick is
inverse.
Convex.
They're the inverse of.
But I wondered if there was like a special name for that. The closest I found is that there's the Chinese yo-yo, but that is something totally different. That's got like the string, and it's got like, have you ever seen those? It's got like the two sticks.
Oh yeah, what are those
You have to like keep them balanced. Chinese yo-yo.
Oh, is that what those are called? Okay. Yeah. I'm actually not bad at those.
The official name is the Diablo.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's what I knew it as. Yes.
The Diablo.
The Diablo.
But
it's like up there with devil sticks or spinning plates. It's kind of one of those novelty.
Yes.
Circus-esque.
But also called the Chinese yo-yo.
The Chinese yo-yo.
Yeah, I remember playing, doing the Chinese yo-yo before. It's not the same, but they can be challenging.
Matt, let me ask you a broader question about yo-yos because I'm curious your thoughts on this.
Yeah. Okay.
When I think a yo-yo is essentially a toy, is it fair to call it that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know what else you would call it.
Well, it's this interesting phenomenon of adults who have toys as hobbies, like professional yo-yoers or professional hacky sack players, or a third example, professional frisbee throwers, I guess may be another one in that category. Some would say it's an maybe not a full sport, but it is a version of sport that takes a lot of skill to master. Others would say all they've done is held on to childish things as they became adults, and they're really just glorifying what is essentially a toy. Where do you fall on that? Do you think yo-yo is a respectable hobby to have, or do you think we should look down upon those who are into the yo?
I'm all for it. I'm absolutely for it. I think it requires some kind of a talent. You know, it's a toy, but at the same time, like if you can master it and be really good and break records and be, I think there's something to be said for that. So I would say that it's a noble endeavor. Sure. I think it's also kind of a dying art. It's a dying skill. Like how many
sure.
I had I'll be honest, I totally had forgotten about yo-yoing until I came up with the idea for this podcast. Just did not remember.
When was the last time you were in a store and even where would you even buy a yo-yo?
Exactly. Exactly. It's I think it's a worthwhile thing. I know and previously on this very show we talked a lot about Pogs. We did a whole Pogs episode. Remember that? That was a while back.
No, we did a whole 90s toys episode.
Yeah, which heavily featured Pogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But also did not really feature yo-yos, if I remember.
Well, but a yo-yo's not really a 90s toy.
No, that's true. It's more of a, what did you say, like 60s, kind of timeless, really, as we discussed before.
But that's what's weird to me about a yo-yo, as we kind of answer this kid versus adult discussion, is should a yo-yo even be a toy for children? Is it really fun for kids? Because it seems not hard necessarily, but it does require, compared to a frisbee or even arguably a hacky sack, I feel like a yo-yo does require more skill. And if we lived in some inverse universe where yo-yos were an adult sport thing first, and then it was weird for a kid to play with one because it's you shouldn't be playing with that, would that be more normal? I don't know. I just don't get why even why olden times kids who didn't have the internet would be excited about a yo-yo. Is a yo-yo a good toy? I guess is my question.
I think it is. I don't think it's a bad toy. I mean, they're difficult to master, and difficult to use, but
that does not
I don't
sound
think
fun.
that they're. I don't think that they're bad. I mean, I didn't have fun with yo-yos as a kid because I never took the time. I think it's something that demands some time out of you to really get good at it. But if you do, you can end up like famed yo-yo tournament champion Hiroyuki Suzuki.
Oh, I remember when he was on the front of the Wheaties box.
He was the world title champion in 2004, 2005, 2006, and 2012.
All right, Matt.
He had a gap between. I wonder what happened to him in 2007 to
it was an injury thing, he injured his hand or something.
Yeah, he disappeared from the circuit.
He was on the IR,
and then he came back and won it in 2012. And all the pictures of him, he's very, very emotional winning in 2012. So I don't know what happened, but
now, Matt, another great topic we covered, we did a whole episode on this show, was competitive eating.
That's right.
Do you think it's more socially acceptable to be a competitive eating champion or to be a yo-yo champion? Or even which would you rather be?
I would rather be probably the yo-yo champion because I think that would do less damage to my physiology.
But it would do so much damage to your street cred. Look at Badlands Booker. He's got a rap career. Joey Chestnut's a household name. Kobayashi.
I totally disagree, Sean. I think it would do wonders for my street cred. You could just
whip
out a yo-yo.
You want to play yo-yo?
If you're really good at it, you would impress the hell out of a lot of people with your yo-yo skills.
And that's another thing. How do you even show off your yo-yo skill? Like competitive eating, you could be at a restaurant, just be hey, I bet I can order 5 of those and eat all of them. You could brag about it, but how weird would it be if you were just hanging out and you're you guys want to see some yo-yo tricks? And it's no.
Well, I think with the competitive eating thing, if you demonstrated your skills in competitive eating, people that watched you would be equally impressed and disturbed. Whereas I think with the yo-yo competition, they would be just impressed. I think that disturbed component would not even be there.
I wouldn't go all the way to impressed with yo-yo. I think it would be more like, huh, neat.
Being a champion at yo-yo and entering the world yo-yo contest would bring you to all different places in the world, Sean. 2014, the tournament was held in Prague. 2015 in Tokyo. 2016 in Cleveland. Okay, we can leave that one
Which
out.
one doesn't
2017
belong?
in Reykjavik, Iceland.
Yeah.
2018 in Shanghai, China.
Oh my god, I love that.
2019 back in Cleveland,
Oh my
and
god.
2020 Budapest, Hungary. If the coronavirus doesn't kill us all.
That is so funny where you're like, which of these doesn't belong in this list of city names?
Cleveland.
Well, do you know why? Actually, do you know why it's in Cleveland, Ohio? Because
Is there a reason? Was that the home of Duncan?
Duncan is from Middlefield, Ohio. So it's total speculation. I don't know if that's accurate, but I can't imagine. Maybe they just really want to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Of all the places, yeah. Yeah. By the way, I still haven't made it out, sidebars, that I still haven't made it out to Minneapolis. I know we talked on the show, we said that Minneapolis was a cool place that we would like to visit someday.
When did we say that?
We said it a while back, Sean.
I totally
We
don't.
said it on this show.
How did that even come up in conversation?
We were talking about the Mall of America.
Oh.
And I think I said that I'd like to visit Minneapolis, and you said why? And I said I heard it was kind of a cool city.
And I stand by that assessment.
And you said I say why? I think that's exactly how the conversation went down. But anyway, yeah, yo-yoing is a dying art, Sean.
I agree.
I don't know why you can't accept it. It's a very cool, very
I think it's
interesting thing.
I give it a lot of, junk, a lot of complaints, but at the same time, I don't legitimately have a beef with yo-yos. It's just like, it's like having a hoop and stick championship. It's like it's an old timey thing. It's like, oh, I'm a hula hoop champion, and I'm like, I guess that's interesting, but at the same time, why?
Well, these days, Sean, do you want to guess what yo-yoers call themselves?
If I will say, I while we were talking, I was clicking around online trying to learn more about yo-yos, and there was a guy demonstrating them in like a karate outfit, which I thought was kind of overkill. If they call themselves like Yo Masters, I'm going to be very upset. What do they call themselves?
They call themselves throwers.
That's almost worse.
They're throwers. That's kind of like that's the hip name they use online in their internet communities. For example, Reddit has a sub page called R Throwers. They have their own fandom website and fan wiki website where they refer to themselves as throwers. They have their own entire community, obviously on Facebook and Instagram. They're the throwing community, the world throwing community. So,
that's interesting. I guess with the
throwers.
internet, there really is a community for everything.
Yeah, that's how we have a show, Sean. We're able to find these communities.
Oh yeah, our big community.
And Sean can talk about why they're dumb.
Yep,
and I can talk about why they're awesome. So,
oh, look at these. Go on, if you have an opportunity, go on eBay and look up vintage yo-yos.
Oh,
these are cool. I will say,
Sean, do you think would you become a yo-yo collector?
I would rather be a collector than like a competitor.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Because yo-yos are one of those things that, because of when they came to market and came to popularity, and because of the general shape of a yo-yo having so much flat space on the outside, I think the art of yo-yo is really, they're made of all different materials, all different colors, all different patterns. I do think collecting yo-yos would actually be pretty legit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is cool. I'm looking at those classic yo-yos. Which one? I really like the Coca-Cola one. You see that one?
Oh, I did see that one. Was great. There was
awesome.
There was a solid walnut yo-yo.
Ooh.
A vintage solid walnut, which
Yeah, I
looked
think
very
I
cool.
just got to that one.
Um, yeah, here's a promotional Tommy Hilfiger Duncan yo-yo. So,
Yep, the original
oh my God,
butterfly Duncan from the 60s.
they have a vintage Boston Bruins yo-yo that is like it's like two hockey pucks with the string that goes in the middle of them.
Mm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the glow in the dark. Remember those?
The light up ones were cool as a kid. I do remember the
Yeah.
light up ones that would flash as you did it. That was very 90s and very cool.
Yes. That's something that's kind of cool about the yo-yo is that it's almost timeless.
Well, it's
You
so
know?
simple. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that toy where you have to get the ball in the cup. It's
Yes.
just one of those, or a hula hoop even. It's just like it's so simple that there is something charming about it.
Of course, the always the like the one of the very typical idle animations for a lot of early video game and arcade characters, just like them playing yo-yo.
Yeah, that's what's kind of weird about a yo-yo is I never understood the concept that you play a yo-yo or you play with a yo-yo because it's you just do it. You know what I mean? You don't. Really, it's not really playing. It's almost like a fidget spinner, where it's kind of like it's just an activity you do.
Yeah, is the yo-yo the like the ancient fidget spinner?
I think it was certainly more dangerous than a fidget spinner because it was a heavy thing on the end of a string.
Oh, a yo-yo ball. That's what the cheater yo-yos that I called them are called. They're called
Ah,
yo-yo balls. They're the ones that have a spherical core and with like a basically like an automatic reel. Like you throw it down, the core rotates counterclockwise and it brings the yo-yo back up automatically.
I just had to look. Is there such a thing as a like smart internet connected yo-yo yet?
What? Why would you want it? Why would you want that?
No, nobody wants it. But I'm just saying that seems like something like on Kickstarter you would see. It's like it's got Bluetooth in it and it connects to a phone app so you can track your yo-yoing.
I think I would rather get this silver-plated yo-yo from the 70s. That's pretty cool. Garfield yo-yo. Could you imagine if we actually did an entire episode about Yo-Yo Ma? And then I invited him on at the end as a guest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
He's just
Yo-Yo
like,
Ma.
just appears behind me. That would have been awesome. But
But he was unavailable, so
he was. That's right. Due to contract disputes, we cannot get him on our show today. Dang. Yeah, these are pretty cool. I always wish that I could do the trick, the walking the dog trick. That always seemed like the coolest one to me.
Did you ever even try tricks?
No, I never got that far. I
never-
never made it that far.
Because I just, yeah, it's just too. I don't know. I don't buy the yo-yo. I gotta be honest. It's not a toy. This is not a toy.
Yeah, it's
It's kinda like-
definitely a toy.
It's not a toy. It's not a
Why-
toy. What is? Let's see.
If it's not a toy, then what is it?
What is the dictionary? A toy is an item that is used in play. But you don't play with a yo-yo.
Well, then what do you do with it?
You throw a yo-yo.
But you're
Okay.
throwing it in enjoyment,
See
so
how
then
they
aren't you playing with it?
Play is a range of intrinsically motivated activities done for recreational pleasure and enjoyment. I guess if you enjoy it, really anything is playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could crumple up a piece of paper, try to shoot it in a trash can.
Then that would make it a toy?
That piece of paper is that crumpled up piece of paper. If in that moment I was using it like a toy. I think that a toy is you can make anything into a toy if you play with it. Like if you're using it in a game, like this glass, if I'm using it in a game, like if I set it up where I lay the glass horizontally and I have a toy truck go into it, that I'm using that glass in my game, it's a toy in that instant. But then I can go back to drinking with it, and then it's no longer a toy.
So if I enjoy,
It's like Sporky in the new Toy Story movie.
oh,
Do you ever
don't
see
spoil it.
that?
I haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
No, I don't know if he lives at the end or
It's very interesting. It gives you a lot of food for thought. There's a lot of philosophical conundrums in Toy Story 4. A lot of thinkers.
More than Cars.
Yeah, I would say more than Cars. Yeah, because
Cars
Cars deals with it deals with a lot of they both deal with a lot of existential questions, but I think that Sporky deals with a lot more existential questions about life and purpose, right? Whereas Cars, it's more like the question of where did we all come from? Where are we all going?
Oh, I meant the broader philosophical idea of what is Cars? Where do cars come from? How do cars reproduce?
I thought you meant the Pixar movie.
No, I did mean the Pixar. No, I'm saying Cars, the Pixar movie. Have you never read any of the theories about Cars?
No, I think I get what you're saying. Where did all these cars originate from? Why are they sentient?
And there's Easter eggs in Cars that imply that humans, at least at one point, were on Earth. What happened to the people?
Right, because there's
how do you
gas
make more
stations
cars?
And stuff.
Do cars have sex? I don't know, Matt.
What I would say, Sean, is that they
in one scene, the cars are seen waiting in line to go into a bathroom. Do cars go to the bathroom? These are the things you're not thinking about.
Why? I think you need to write. You need to join the many people who have written Pixar. Wow.
Yeah, Google some of this. I'm not even getting into the craziest stuff. It gets crazier. So.
No, that's stuff that I never wanted.
So that's what I thought you meant. In a world, are the toys alive? Can the toys communicate with people?
Well, that's always been the question.
Are all toys alive?
It's what's the
what are the rules of that universe? Anyway, we're off topic. But anyway, what I was going to say is, so if I'm a hunter and I enjoy hunting, then is my gun a toy?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Matt,
I'd say
guns are not toys. I got him. I got him.
Our PSA for the episode.
You know, Matt, this isn't a joke.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And I know what you mean. I'm with you.
It is a very broad question, though. I would say that the yo-yo is a toy, right? I don't know what else it could be classified as. No, you know what it is? The yo-yo it's not a tool to solve a problem. It's got to be a toy. You know?
I would say the yo-yo is not a toy. The yo-yo is marketed as a toy, and that's what made it a toy.
Marketing?
Yes, absolutely. It's the same with a hula hoop or anything else. I don't think kids would give a crap about if you. I guarantee you, right? Go to a child today who has never seen a commercial for a yo-yo, never seen anyone play with a yo-yo, which I'm sure is the common experience with most children today, and hand them a yo-yo and see if they have fun.
Well, if you take their phone away first, that's the key. You gotta
Grandpap's going to take away your iPod, and you can play with this yo-yo.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something else that can be considered. Oh, what was that? Pogs, I guess, is another good one. They're a toy because people said that they are. Right? Pogs they're just cardboard circles.
But you know
people have fun with them.
But that's the different thing about Pogs, and I could argue it's the same for Pokemon, which really isn't a thing. It's just a bunch of playing cards originally.
What is anything, Sean?
No, but the difference between Pogs and a yo-yo is Pogs are head-to-head competitive. You play against somebody in Pogs. A yo-yo is a self-play activity.
Not always. You can compete in a yo-yo contest.
But not in a head-to-head, high-octane...
I would argue that maybe there is a place where you could do that. Maybe there is some kind of game where you try to knock each other's yo-yos out of each other's hands.
God.
I don't know.
Competitive yo-yo. We should invent that. That is not. I mean, it is a stupid idea, but it's a good stupid idea.
Where battle bots, but with the yo-yos.
Yeah.
Just throw them at each other.
No, but I do like the idea of You ever see those hockey skill challenges they sometimes do, like for All
Oh
Star
yeah.
Weekend, and they have the goal with the 4 targets, and they have to hit the pucks and hit the targets, or even in the Pro Bowl, they do the same thing with footballs. Like I don't know why you couldn't have set up a set of targets, and you have to shoot the yo-yo out and hit the target. Maybe that's too easy. Because
Maybe
I
they
feel
already
like I
have
could
that.
do that.
That seems like something that they probably have at this yo-yo competition that we were talking about before.
I would like
They do
that.
all these tricks and stuff.
Now
I don't
that
know
would
why
be
they wouldn't
exciting.
have a yo-yo targeting.
But the thing about the tricks is, like, I don't know if I don't like sports where I can't tell if they're good or not. You know what I mean? Like, you could put up 5 videos of people doing yo-yo, and I wouldn't know who was better than the other person. At least in, like, think of like darts, for example. While it's not exactly head-to-head, like there's a score, I can keep track. It's kind of like figure skating, where it's like I don't know if you did good or not.
Yeah, it would have to be something that would have to be judged by experts. Now, how do you become a expert in the yo-yo?
Please tell. Is there like some kind of
That
yo-yo
I don't.
college I can go to, or like some sort of expensive course I can take?
Judges for yo-yo competition. We're hitting the Google. Let's see.
How to become
And
a yo-yo master.
it looks like there are rules and regulations. There are judges at high level competitions. How are yo-yo contests judged? Okay. Yo-yo categories are judged based on technique, use of music, and professionalism. But how do the judges qualify to judge that? I'm assuming that they're probably also yo-yo masters themselves, maybe.
Or even better, maybe they're like celebrity guest judges, which would be really funny.
Maybe.
Matt, I just Googled how to become a yo-yo master, and it took me to this thread at yoyoexpert.com. How long did it take you to become good at yo-yoing? How long do you think most of these people say it takes you to become good at yo-yoing?
Their whole lives.
No, the average is like 3 months.
3 months.
This, I'm not even joking. Like most are like 2 or 3 months, and you can become pretty good at yo-yo. So
Oh, you know what? I could definitely see that. I could see that if you just spent pretty much all your free time on it. It's like anything else. You could become good at a lot of things in 3 months if you have to. The key is discipline.
Matt, I think
Just
you
got to
should
find
quit.
the time.
I think you should quit your job and dedicate
Become a
yourself to
yo-yo
becoming
master?
a full-time yo-yo master.
It would be the perfect redemption. So I always wanted to be one.
Could you
But I
imagine?
want to
What
put
do
in
you
the
think
work.
your wife would say if you were like, honey, I finally am ready to live my lifelong dream. I'm going to quit my job and become a professional yo-yo thrower.
I could find out. Okay, I'll
Could you
ask
do
her
like a
and
hidden
get
camera
back to you.
prank? Because you know what's funny, Matt, is you're a great guy, but I kind of feel like she'd believe you on some level. Because I would believe you.
She would absolutely believe
You're
me.
just
I have,
zany
I have,
enough.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind that she would be like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Whoops, that site had video.
Well, honey, maybe you should buy a yo-yo first and see if you like it.
Yeah, she would probably say something like that. Like, I encourage you to follow your dreams, maybe you want to, start small before you quit your
Yeah,
job
try a few
and
things.
don't dedicate your
Painting
whole
or,
life to this.
a few other things.
But who knows? Maybe I'll be up on that stage right next to the famous yo-yo master Takeshi Suzuki, and then it'll have all been it'll have all been worth it.
You just had a birthday, didn't you, not that long ago? Last month?
Yeah, it was about a month ago.
That's a
So-
shame because I'm looking up how to hire a yo-yo champion to come to your party. And don't laugh. That is a thing.
I thought you were gonna get me one of those vintage yo-yos.
No, I want to hire a yo-yo champion to just show up at your house unannounced and do yo-yo tricks for you against your will.
Oh, you know what? This is a very timely episode, Sean. All the kids are gonna listen to this episode. You know why?
Why?
I looked up the latest in yo-yo news, and apparently just yesterday, YouTube king PewDiePie showed off his yo-yo skills in a comical Instagram story.
It's dead. It's dead. It's absolutely dead. Yo-yo is officially over. They killed it.
And then the rest of the news articles are about Yo-Yo Ma. And he did an interview recently. So
Here we go. Dazzling Dave, Yo-Yo champion, will come to your birthday party for just $250.
Dazzling Dave?
Dazzling Dave, $250, and you are required to purchase a yo-yo through him for each participant at the party.
Wow, now that's a good business right there.
And there may be a travel fee, so we may have to fly it out to you.
Dazzling Dave hasn't made, let me tell you. He's got a good gig right there. Just travels state to state, going to kids' birthday parties, making them buy his yo-yo. Smart. It's a smart man.
Yeah. Now,
Sean, we could have done that. We could have been yo-yo
we missed our
performers.
Now, Matt, what's interesting to me is as we do more and more research on yo-yo, a topic I really knew nothing about before we started, I'm seeing a lot of similarities between yo-yo masters and jugglers. So I wish I was making this up, but every yo-yo person I've looked up, it's like juggler and yo-yo master, blankety blank. Why do you think that is? Do you think there's a lot of... I mean, both involve throwing things, I guess.
Coordination, I think. I think it's because of coordination. They both require rote skill in coordination. There has to be some kind of a talent in reaction time, I would say, for both of them. They're throwing and receiving and timing. So I think it's just a natural overlap.
I mean, it's very similar to like devil sticks, baton twirling, hooping, which is where you toss the rings and catch them.
WikiHow has a how to use a yo-yo in 12 steps. That's way too many. It's not a toy. Yeah.
That's like a user's manual.
How to use. Yeah, like it comes with a manual. Nah.
Wow, Matt.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? I think that back in the day there could have been a huge market for these things.
There was.
There was. I mean, like,
one of the best-selling toys of all time.
Could have like went crazy putting all kinds of things on yo-yos.
So could you imagine a schoolyard full of children just like throwing yo-yos? What a bad idea.
The Duncan yo-yos always look the best. They're so round, shiny.
Man, plastics, really incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Matt, as we head towards the end of the hour here, I do have a question to ask you about yo-yos.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, and no one does, we started this whole show back when it had a different name and we were much younger gentlemen, with the idea that we were going to do every episode, and that lasted about 3 or 4, that we were going to rate stuff on overrated, underrated, or appropriately rated, if you remember. That lasted for about 5 seconds. And I'm curious, Matt. The yo-yo.
It's still in our Twitter bio.
I know. I've really got to...
According to our Twitter bio, that's what we still do. I think I called it
our patent pending over, under, or appropriate scale. But Matt, I got to ask you, when it comes to the yo-yo, overrated, underrated, or appropriately rated?
You're expecting me to say that it is underrated, but I think that it's probably appropriately rated for what it is and for how it's used. I'd say appropriate. I think it might have fallen out of popularity recently, and that's okay because someday it'll probably be back. It's like any other fad.
No, yo-yos are not coming back. Stop that.
I think they might come back. They'll be like digital yo-yos that you have to pay like $1 every time you use it in like a microtransaction.
I'm gonna look and see if there's a yo-yo.
They'll have like ads all over them because everything is terrible.
Purchases now, to buy yo-yos.
Yeah, everything's bad now. So that's what the yo-yo will be. It'll be like a holographic yo-yo that you have to pay per use, and there'll be like loot boxes built into it. Somehow you'll throw the yo-yo down, pick it back up, and there'll be like a loot box that pops out with another set of yo-yo trading cards and decals in them.
I definitely think we should make like an AR game like Pokemon Go. But
app on
instead
your
of
phone,
throwing Pokeballs, you throw out the yo-yo.
and you just collect what? Pogs? You collect Pogs.
Oh my god, the
Sean.
ultimate 90
What?
to keep your
We need to not put this
Tamagotchi
on the
alive.
show because someone's going to take our idea.
Oh man. The ultimate 90s nostalgia app.
You get Pogs to feed your Gigapet.
Yes.
Your Tamagotchi eats the Pogs, and then it grows into a Pokemon.
Wow. Wow, that sucks. So
and
hard.
all the while, Backstreet Boys is playing in the background.
All right. Yes. Wow.
And it's all sponsored by Capri Sun.
And Fruitopia.
Fruitopia.
Oh, Matt. Wow. I think we learned a lot today about the yo-yo.
Yeah, I think we've said all we can say about it.
I mean, we talked for an hour about it, so that alone is pretty impressive.
That was a solid hour of yo-yo talk. We'll be back next week with another episode of Up for Debate. Of course, you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on all the social media pages, Stitcher Radio, XP Nation Radio, Heart Radio. Where else are we, Sean? We're on the actual radio, AM 105.3.
The Rock.
The Rock. You can find us in your ears, coming at you on your commute to or from work. We're happy to do it. I'm Matt. He's Sean. Thank you for listening to another episode of Up for Debate.